Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I'm here to bring you a battle between these two Ikoria sealed decks and the Face the Hydra challenge deck from Theros. We will be playing two games, first on normal difficulty and then on hard mode. And for these games we'll be using the following hero cards. The first one is the Harvester, which says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. The second one is the Warrior, which says tap, target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. To see how these decks were built, go ahead and look in the description box below. There'll be links to the videos where I opened the packs and built them. We'll start on normal difficulty with 3 Hydra heads, and then we'll be back for hard mode. Go ahead and draw our opening hands. Red draws a Mythos of Vadrock, Evolving Wilds, Dreamtail Heron, Mountain, Regal Leosaur, Skycat Sovereign, and Mountain. I think we'll keep this on the strength of having the Evolving Wilds to get the other land that we need, which will be blue or white. We can go one way or the other here. Blue draws a Will of the All Hunter, Voracious Great Shark, Plains, Spontaneous Flight, Island, Plains, and Skycat Sovereign. We'll keep this because we can cast the Skycat Sovereign and hopefully we'll get there in time. We'll go ahead and get started. Red will play the Evolving Wilds. This is a land. It says tap, sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. We'll tap, sack it, and then we will go ahead and get a white land, so that will work with the Regal Leosaur and the Skycat Sovereign. There's our plains. We'll put it on the battlefield tapped, and then we'll shuffle. Blue will play an island, and then we will pass the turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is Unified Lunge. It deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of heads on the battlefield. We'll be taking 3 damage plus another 3 damage for 6 damage apiece, taking us down to 14 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Fire Prophecy, and we will discard the Fire Prophecy. Blue draws a Lava Serpent, and we will discard the Spontaneous Flight. We'll untap. Red draws a Frost Veil Ambush. We'll go ahead and play the Mountain over here. Blue draws a Plains. We'll play the Plains. Red will tap the red and the white and cast the Regal Leosaur. This is a 2/2 dinosaur cat with mutate, 1 red, white, red, white. Whenever this creature mutates, other creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. Blue will tap these two and cast a Skycat Sovereign. This is a 1/1 elemental cat with flying, and it gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with flying. You can pay 2 white and blue to create a 1/1 cat bird creature token with flying. Go ahead and use the Warrior to give them both haste, because I only have 1 copy of each of these hero cards. We're going to apply them to both decks simultaneously. And then we will attack one of the Hydra heads with both of these creatures, killing the Hydra head. It has a hero's reward. When it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 2 life. That'll take us up to 16 each. Then we'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There's 1 new Hydra head. And then we will pass the turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. This is Disorienting Glower. Players can't cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. We cannot cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. We'll still take 3 damage from the assembled heads to go down to 13 each. Then at the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws an island, and we will discard the Mythos of Vadrock. Blue draws a Savai Sabertooth, and we will discard the Will of the All Hunter. Then we'll untap. Red draws a Ferocious Tigerilla. Blue draws a Frostveil Ambush. Blue will play a Plains. Red will play the island. And then we cannot cast spells this turn, so we won't worry about doing so. We'll just go ahead and attack and destroy another Hydra head. It goes down, we get 2 more life, we'll go back up to 15. We'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There's another Hydra head. Then we will pass the turn to the Hydra. We can now cast spells. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is Hydra's Impenetrable Hide. Each head gains indestructible until the end of the Hydra's next turn. We cannot do anything about the heads this turn. We'll take 3 each to go down to 12 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Startling Development, and we will discard a Skycat Sovereign. Blue draws a Pacifism, we'll discard the Pacifism. And then blue will tap the island to cycle the Frostveil Ambush. We will draw a 1 of Mind. Red will tap a island to also cycle the Frostveil Ambush, and we will draw a mountain. We'll tap the mountain to cycle the startling development, and we will draw a Polywog Symbiote, and then we will untap. Red draws a Draenei Healer. Blue will draw a Plains. We'll play the Plains. We'll play a mountain over here. We cannot kill any of these heads this turn, so we won't be doing any attacking. But we can build up our board, so that's what we'll do. Red will tap the island and the mountain and cast a Polywog Symbiote. This is a 1/3 frog. Each creature spell you cast costs 1 less to cast if it has Mutate. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if it has Mutate, draw a card, then discard a card. And then we will tap 2 more and cast a Draenei Healer. This is a 2/2 human cleric. Whenever you cycle another card, you gain 1 life. It has cycling for 1. And blue will tap the plains and the island, and we'll cast a Savai Sabertooth. This is a 3/1 cat. And then we will pass to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is Disorienting Blower. Players can't cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. That's fine. We're going to take 3 damage from these heads to go down to 9 each. And then at the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Savai's Thundermane, and we will discard the Mountain. Blue will draw a Checkpoint Officer, and we'll discard the Checkpoint Officer. We'll untap. Red draws a Startling Development, and blue will draw a Plains. We'll play the Plains, and then we will go to combat, and we will attack one of the heads with the Savai Sabertooth. We will attack another head with the Draenei Healer and the Polywog Symbiote, and we will attack the final head with the Skycat Sovereign and the Regal Leosaur. This will kill all 3 remaining heads, getting us 6 life apiece, taking us up to 15 each. And then we'll reveal 6 cards to see if there are any new heads. There is 1 new Hydra head. We cannot cast spells until the Hydra's next turn, so we're going to hold on here, and we'll flip to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is Disorienting Blowers. We can't cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. We'll take 1 damage each, going down to 14 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red will draw a Pouncing Shore Shark, and we will discard the Ferocious Tigerilla. Blue will draw a Mountain, we'll discard the Plains, and then we'll untap. Red will draw a Frill Scare Mentor, and blue will draw a Coordinated Charge. Blue will play the Mountain. Red will hold on. I think we just have this, so we'll swing with the Savai Sabertooth and take out the Hydra head. We will gain 2 life apiece to go up to 16 each. We'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There is a new Hydra head. Since we cannot cast any spells this turn, we will pass to the next turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. That is a Noxious Hydra Breath. It's sorcery, choose 1, it deals 5 damage to each player, or destroy each tapped non-head creature. At this point we can take the damage, that's fine, we'll go down to 11 each. And then we'll take another one from the remaining head to go down to 10 each. At the end of the turn we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Mountain, and we will discard the Mountain. Blue will draw an island, and we will discard the Coordinated Charge. We'll untap. Red draws a Mountain. Blue will draw an island. Blue will play the island. Red will play the Mountain. And then we will go to combat. We'll attack with the Savai Sabertooth, killing the Hydra head. We'll gain 2 life to go back up to 12. We'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. And there are no new heads. And the Ikoria Seal decks defeat the Hydra on regular difficulty. We'll be right back for hard mode. Alright everybody, this is hard mode. We have 4 Hydra heads assembled here. We'll go ahead and draw our opening hands. Red draws Ferocious Tigerilla, Polywog Symbiote, Mountain, Porcuparrot, Fire Prophecy, and Draenei Healer. I don't love this start because we have no white or blue, but because 3 of our cards here are red, I think we can keep this one anyways. Blue draws Island, Savai Sabertooth, Capture Sphere, Draenei Healer, Wingspan Mountain, Coordinated Charge, and Tranquil Cove. I think we're going to keep this one just because we do have both of our colors here, and hopefully we can loot away some of these cards that we don't need to get the card that we do. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started. Red will play a Mountain, and blue will play the Tranquil Cove. It's a land, it enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield you gain 1 life, and you can tap it for white or blue. We'll go ahead and gain 1 life to go up to 21. And then we'll go to the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is Unified Lunge. We're going to take 4 damage plus another 4 damage to go down to 12 for red and 13 for blue. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Skycat Sovereign, and we will discard the Skycat Sovereign. Blue will draw a Plains, and we will discard the Capture Sphere. Red will also tap the Mountain, and we will cycle away the Draenei Healer and draw a Ferocious Tigerilla. This is not turning out to be very good here. And then we will untap. Red will draw a Lord Dracus, and blue will draw a Plains. Blue will play one of the Plains, and we'll tap both of these to cast the Savai Sabertooth. Red will play the Mountain, and then we will tap the Warrior to give the Savai Sabertooth haste, and we'll attack with the Savai Sabertooth into one of these Hydra heads. It will die, we'll get 2 life apiece to go back up to 14. And then we will reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There is a Ravenous Brood head. This is a 0/6 elite head, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 2 life and draws a card. We will also go ahead and cast the Fire Prophecy now to remove another head from the battlefield. We'll gain 2 more life to go back up to 16. And Fire Prophecy says it deals 3 damage to target creature. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do draw a card, we'll take one of the Ferocious Tigerillas and stick it on the bottom to draw a card. And that is a Frostvale Ambush, not what we wanted. And then we'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. No new heads. We'll go back to the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is a Disorienting Glower. We can't cast spells until our next turn. We're going to take 4 damage from the assembled heads to go back down to 12 each. And then we will use the Harvester. Red will draw a Flourishing Fox, and we will discard the Ferocious Tigerilla. Blue will draw a Checkpoint Officer, and we'll discard the Checkpoint Officer. Then we'll untap. Red will draw a island. Blue will draw a Yorion Sky Nomad. We cannot cast spells this turn, but blue can play the island. Red can also play an island. Since we cannot cast a spell, we'll hold on, and we will go ahead and attack the Savai Sabertooth into one of these Hydra heads, and that will give us 2 more life to go back up to 14. We'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. No new heads. And then we will go to the Hydra's next turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is a Disorienting Glower. We can't cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. Again, we're not going to be able to do much about that. We're going to take 3 damage from the assembled heads to go down to 11 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red will draw a Filscare Mentor, and we will discard the Frostvale Ambush. Blue will draw a Plains, and we will discard the Coordinated Charge. Then we'll untap. And then red will draw a Mythos of Vadrock, and blue will draw a Will of the All Hunter. Blue will play a Plains, red will cycle the Flourishing Fox with the Mountain and draw a Plains. We'll play the Plains. We cannot cast spells this turn, so unfortunately we aren't doing a whole lot. Blue will tap 2, and we will cycle away the Will of the All Hunter as well to draw a Mountain, which is alright, I guess. We will go to combat and swing with the Savai Sabertooth into the last Hydra head. This will get us 2 more life to go back up to 13. And then we'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There is a Savage Vigor head. This is an 08 Elite head. At the beginning of the Hydra's end step, reveal the top card of the Hydra's library, and the Hydra casts that card. When it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 4 life and draws a card. We don't have any way of removing that, and we can't cast anything. So we are going to pass the turn to the Hydra, which will cast the topmost card. This is Hydra's Impenetrable Hide. Each head gains indestructible until the end of the Hydra's next turn. And then it's going to cast another thing because of the Savage Figurehead, and so it'll cast the Neck Tingle. If there are 5 or more heads on the battlefield, tap 2 of them, and they don't untap during the Hydra's next untap step. Otherwise, reveal the top card of the Hydra's library, and the Hydra casts that card. There are only 2, so we'll cast the next card, which is Unified Lunge. It deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of heads on the battlefield. So we'll take 2 plus another 4 to take 6 damage each to go down to 7 each. And we can finally cast things, but I don't know if we're going to survive till the next turn. We will use the Harvester at the end of the turn. We draw a Plains over here, and we will discard the Mythos of Vadrock over here. Blue will draw a Island, and we will discard the Plains. And then we'll untap. Red draws an island. Blue will draw a Plains. We'll play a mountain over here, and we will play a island over here. Red will spend an island and a mountain to cast the Polywog Symbiote. We have 3 remaining mana, but our mutates all cost 1 less to cast. So we will also cast a Porcuparrot for 3. This is a 3/4 bird beast with mutate 2 red, and you can tap it to deal X damage to any target, where X is the number of times this creature has mutated. And then, because we cast a creature spell and it has mutate, we're going to draw a card, then discard a card. We draw an island, and we will discard the island. Blue will spend 3 mana to cast the Wingspan Mentor. This is a 1/3 human wizard, and when it enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on target non-human creature you control. You can pay 2 blue tap to add a +1/+1 counter to each creature you control with flying. There's our flying counter. And then we'll spend 2 more mana to cast the Draneth Healer. We cannot attack this turn, so hopefully we will survive the next onslaught by the Hydra and be able to swing on the following turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is a Hydra Head, and then we'll cast another card because of the Savage Figurehead, which is Noxious Hydra Breath. We'll opt to destroy each tapped non-head creature. We're going to take a total of 5 damage each, going down to 2 apiece. And then at the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red will draw a Savai Triome, and we will discard the plains. Blue will draw an island, and we will discard the plains. And then we'll untap. Red will draw a Snare Tactician, and blue will draw a Lava Serpent. Blue will play the island. Blue will tap out, and we'll cast the Lava Serpent. This is a 5/5 Elemental Serpent with haste and cycling 2. Red will pay a blue and a red to mutate the Lord Dracus onto the Porcuparrot. This is a 2/3 lizard beast with mutate red, blue. And whenever this creature mutates, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. We'll put it under the Porcuparrot and get the Mythos of Vadrock back. And then we'll spend 3 more mana to cast the Frill Scare Mentor. This is a 3/2 human warrior, and when it enters the battlefield, put a menace counter on target non-human creature you control, and you can pay 2 and a red to tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with menace. The Porcuparrot will get the menace counter. And then we'll tap the warrior to give the recently entered Frill Scare Mentor haste, and then we'll attack the Ravenous Brutehead with the Frill Scare Mentor, and the Porcuparrot will attack the Savage Figurehead with the Lava Serpent and the Savai Sabertooth. We will attack the remaining Hydra Head with the Draneth Healer and the Polywog Symbiote. This should kill all 3 of these. We'll gain 8 life and draw 2 cards each. 8 life will take us up to 10. And then we'll reveal 6 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads, so we don't need to draw cards because the Ikoria sealed decks defeat the Hydra on hard mode. Although that was a really close one. We could have lost that if the cards went the wrong way. Let me know what you thought about the games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.